Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining. Cecilia here, and today we're going to paint another Celtic knot. So I'm going to show you how to create a really precise Dara knot by using a compass and a set square. I found different variations of that knot, easier and harder ones, and I chose this one because it's somewhere in the middle and I kind of like the way it looks the most. And if you only want to draw the knot, this tutorial is also perfect for you, just skip the painting part. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The acrylic colors that we need are white and cobalt blue. For the oil layer, we use titanium white, phthalo blue, red shade, cobalt blue, and dioxazine purple. The brushes that we need are a filbert brush for the background, a small round brush, and a tiny brush for the knot. As always, we start with an acrylic underlayer. We don't need that much paint. We will only use 2 colors. I think that's enough because we continue afterwards with oils. But if you only want to paint with acrylics, you might want to use more colors. So we mix white with a little bit cobalt blue for the middle, and we create a gradient from the middle towards the sides. We pick the filbert brush and paint the middle with light blue, and the closer we get to the edges, the darker it gets. So we blend it with cobalt blue, and for the edges we use only cobalt blue. We blend everything nicely, and you can go over it again, but this layer doesn't have to be completely opaque because, as I said, we will go over it with oils. But when you only want to paint with acrylics, I would suggest that you paint the final background the way you like it, because now we will continue with drawing the knot. For the purpose of this video, I draw the knot on paper because I figured that it's more visible for you due to the dark background. First of all, we divide the square into 8 pieces. We start with the diagonals. The square is 10 by 10 centimeters, so we mark the middle here at 5 centimeters and draw the lines vertically and horizontally. Then we need the compass and we construct a circle. I go with 3.5 centimeters as radius. I think that's a good size. Then we're going to draw an inner circle that is half the radius of the outer circle. So in this case it is 1.75 centimeters. And now we need the set square, and we're going to draw the tangents here on each side. Like that. It's going to be a square. After that, we draw these vertical and horizontal lines here in the middle, and for that we gotta define the distance between them. I go for 4 millimeters, so I measure 2 millimeters from this center line to each side. We do the same here on the horizontal line, and then we connect these opposing dots. We continue with drawing the outer lines. Now we're going to draw these arcs. And we can do that by hand, but we can also use the compass. So we position it here where the square intersects the center line, and then we can construct a circular arc. We leave the next one out and go to this one, draw another arc. Again, we position the compass here where the square meets the center line. Sometimes you gotta adjust a little bit. Here again. And the last one like that. Now we are going to draw the other half. Basically we follow the outer circle line and we kind of break it here right before this point where the circle intersects the diagonal. So we break it and turn it into a spiral. We can do that by hand, or again we can use the compass. Whatever works best for you. I tried here with the compass, but first I mark this curve here, position the compass at the corner of the square, and then I use this mark as radius to construct a semicircle. The good thing about this approach is that we can use the same radius for each corner, and in this way guarantee that the spiral is going to be the same size. Now we can draw the smaller semicircle here and complete the spiral. You could again use a compass, but I think it's easier to draw it by hand because it's that small. So we draw this tiny semicircle on each side and then we complete the spiral by connecting it with the outer circle line. That looks quite good. So now we have the outer lines. What we can do is we paint the outer lines in a way that we already have the thickness of the knot with the brush stroke, or we draw the thickness and then fill it out. Whatever is best for you, I will show you quickly how to draw the inner lines. It's pretty simple. First, we have to define the thickness. I go for 4 mm. I think that's a good size, so I mark that on each side. And then I draw the line until it intersects the diagonal. And here as well. You can already look how far you can go, so here at the end the distance is 4 mm. And then we do the same with the square. We mark 4 mm and draw a smaller inner square. Again, the corners are on the diagonals. After that, we draw those arcs, and you can use the compass again or draw it by hand. I will draw it by hand because I'm faster that way. So yeah, we connect all of these lines and follow the shape of the outer line. And if the spiral is too tight, you can widen and adjust it a bit. I do that as well. As you can see, we have lots of lines, so let's fill it out to make it clearer. For that I continue with the wood panel, and I already prepared the knot. We use a round brush and paint it with white. It's still an acrylic color, and afterwards we continue with oils. Of course, you can already use your color tone for the knot. I use only white because I only want to brighten it, and it seems easier to me that way. I will mix the colors of the knot afterwards with oils. But for example, if you only paint with acrylics, you can already mix your desired colors, right? When everything is fully dry, we can gently erase the unnecessary lines that we no longer need. Now let's continue with our oil painting layer. First, we're going to mix the background colors. We take a bit of white and phthalo blue. This is gonna be our bright color. For the darker color, we use cobalt blue and a bit of phthalo blue and mix them together. If you want to go even darker, you can also add a bit dioxazine purple. Maybe I'll do that afterwards. Now we're going to apply it onto the panel. We use the filbert brush, paint the edges with the darker color and paint around the knot, but we leave a little bit space here for blending. Then we use the round brush and the bright color and fill out the middle, basically the square here. Actually, I'm going to mix a mid-tone color by taking a bit of the dark and light blue. I think it's easier in this case because we have such a little area to blend. So we apply it outside the square in between the brighter and darker blue and blend all of these color tones nicely. Now we are going to paint the knot, and I'd like to create some sort of a silver metal knot, so that means we're going to mix gray tones with mainly black and white. Again, we mix a brighter and darker color tone. For the bright one, we use obviously lots of white and a little bit of black, and also a tiny bit of our bright background color to make it colder, because there are different gray tones, and when we only mix black and white, it's a warmer gray tone, which doesn't quite fit into our main color tone of the painting. For the darker color tone, we use more black and less white, and we add a tiny bit of blue as well, for example a bit of the mid-tone background color, but not too much. Now we apply it to the canvas, and we start with a round brush and the bright color tone, and paint here only the middle. We don't have to paint right to the lines because there will be the shades. We just draw the lines to cover most of the knot, but it doesn't need to be that precise. After that, we pick a tiny brush and add the shades with a dark color. First, we paint the areas where the lines overlap. They alternate, they go over and under and over and under again. We start here and follow the line. First it goes under and then over, then under and over, and so on. You see, it's repetitive, so we do that for each side. Now that we've defined the shades, we paint them a bit thicker, and then we paint the shades at the edges, and for that we still use the tiny brush and the dark color, and we draw a fine line. The dark color that I have is almost too dark, so I brighten it a bit. As you can see, the transition between the shadow and light areas are quite harsh. That's why we're going to blend them nicely. For that we take the bright gray color, or sometimes a mid-tone gray, and we go gently over the line where they meet. But it's a really gentle movement, we barely touch the surface. Basically, this step is about softening all the harsh transitions between the light and shadow areas in order to make it kind of round. Like, I go back and forth until it really looks round because I want it to appear like a silver ring, and that means that there's lots of blending needed. Here it's much harder because it's such a small area. I think it helps to look at a silver ring or a photograph. There you can see very well the transition of the colors. Once you're satisfied with the way it looks, we can set the highlights. We use pure white for that, and we put it in the middle of each section, like between overlapping lines. In the very middle we use pure white, and to the sides we let it fade out. So I like it, but I want to darken the corners a little bit to enhance this contrast of the background, because I really like this glowing look. What I do is I mix phthalo blue with dioxazine purple and paint the corners here and blend it gently with the rest. Yeah, sometimes I see those things more clearly afterwards. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and being here. I hope this video was helpful to you. If so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more art videos. And also, if you still have questions, write them in the comments below. And if you have an idea for another Celtic knot design or a totally different subject, let me know. I would love to hear from you. I wish you a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video.